Friday. We're going to start in standing today. Let's line our feet up with our hips. We're going to point our toes directly forward. Get those feet parallel if you can. If they need to be a little bit further apart, pointing out to the side, you accommodate for what you need to for your lower body comfort. As always, take your time, pace yourself with all of these exercises as we move through. We are starting in a different position today, so listen to what I'm saying. Stop if things get confusing. Close your eyes, listen to the words, and I can almost guarantee you'll be able to follow along once you stop and kind of reset. So we will start with our heels lined up directly under our sit bones, toes facing forward towards your screen. We're going to settle into our feet. Let your toes touch the ground, let your heels touch the ground, and I want you to picture a string at the crown of your head drawing all the way up to the ceiling. You want to feel your weight get a little bit lighter through your feet, and you want to picture a little space between your head and your neck and your middle back and rib cage, the middle back and low back, the low back and the pelvis and the hips and the knees, and the knees and the ankles. We can soften up those knees, give them a little bit of a bend, and let's shift our weight toward our toes and toward our heels, keeping the feet flat on the floor. Test that end range. We're looking to see how far our ability is, how far we can move through that range without feeling like we have to lift our heels or our toes. This lets those foot muscles work to keep us nice and balanced. As we keep rocking forward and back, we can take our hands to our midsection. If you gently press into your midsection, you might feel a little bit of difference in muscular activity when you're forward towards your toes versus the middle of the range versus when you're back towards your heels. Your trunk is reacting to gravity. And we're letting those muscles do their thing, not by us telling them to contract, but by how they react to what we're standing on. Let's shift the weight toward the toes and toward the heels a couple more times, waking up those core muscles. We'll shift our weight now right over the front of the ankles where your shoelaces would be if you're wearing sneakers. And we're going to take our hands to our waistline now, fingertips in front, thumbs in back. And we're going to shift the weight from foot to foot, side to side. Press those fingers and thumbs into your waistline just a bit and feel those muscles again. Contract and relax as we shift side to side. Notice our two sides are doing something a little bit differently from each other as we shift our weight. We can challenge this a little differently by moving that weight in circles. Again, keeping the whole foot on the floor, toes and heels, and shifting our weight forward, sideways and back around the order of those feet. Let's switch directions. We'll circle the opposite way. Here's 4. Think about that crown of the head coming all the way up to the ceiling again. 2 more circles. Feel those muscles moving under your fingertips. 1 last circle. Let's now shift the weight forward over the balls of the feet. You'll feel those muscles kicking in under your fingers. We can unweight our heels. Hold it there. Just a little activity in those calves. Keeping the weight forward onto the toes. Maybe we rise up a little higher. You take it as far as you're comfortable going up on those toes. We pause wherever that is. Maybe it's mid-range, maybe it's half an inch up, maybe it's all the way up onto the balls of the feet. We're going to hold that there. Let's take our arms up to the ceiling. As we reach our fingertips up, we drop our shoulder blades down. We try to keep that weight over the balls of the feet. Take an inhale. Exhale and keep that weight forward over the toes as we slowly control our heels down to the mat. We're going to soften up those knees again as we move our weight back over the front of those ankle joints. Now we can take our feet apart from each other slightly and point those toes out to the sides. We're going to clasp our hands, reach those palms up to the ceiling, and drop your shoulder blades down to the floor. Moving from right above that belly button, which now we can gently draw back to support our spine, we're going to take a tall side bend toward one corner of the room, very similar to how we end some of our classes. Let's inhale, arms up to the ceiling, and we'll exhale them over to the other side. Inhale up, exhale and side bend. 1 more time, inhale, lift, exhale, side bend to that opposite corner. We can finish our side bending by bringing those arms up to the ceiling. Take those arms out to the sides, down by our bodies, and roll those shoulders back. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's step to one of the edges of the mat. We're going to turn ourselves so we face lengthwise along that mat. Now let's bend those knees a bit, soften up those knees. We're going to keep our core nice and active, draw back toward the spine with that belly. Hands come right to the folds in the hips. Keeping those knees a little bit soft, we're going to hinge. We're going to bend forward through the trunk, keeping the same curve that we have when we're nice and upright. Pause when you first start to feel a little barrier, maybe a little stretch behind those thighs, not at the expense of feeling your back though. Find that barrier there. We're gonna hold it here for a big breath in. As we exhale, we're gonna drop our hands down until the arms are parallel to the wall in front of us, vertical, perpendicular to the floor. Let's hold it here for another breath in. As we exhale, we can bend the knees if we need to, but we're gonna bring our hands down to the mat and walk ourselves down to hands and knees. Now, if you'd like to have something under your knees for a little extra padding, you're welcome to double your mat up. And from here, we're gonna do a few cats and cows. Let's loosen up and activate those core muscles in that pelvic area before we make our way all the way down to the floor. Cat and cow, draw that belly to the ceiling. Reverse that curve. One more time here, curl, release. Let's bring ourselves back to neutral. We'll wag our tail side to side. Take the hip to the shoulder on one side, the other hip to the other shoulder on the other side. And let's wag them side to side for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Taking the body back to the middle. We're gonna rock our bottom back toward our heels. If the toes are curled under with the balls of the feet pressing the floor, you might get a little stretch through your soles of your feet or through the back of the calf. We're gonna hold there and then come back up to all fours. Reach it back, take it to all fours. One more time, reach it back, take it back to all fours. We'll turn the tops of the feet down toward the floor. Let's bring our feet together, our knees apart, and draw that bottom back toward the heels as we walk our hands toward the front of our mat, moving toward a child's pose, tight position. We'll drop that forehead down, breathing in. As we exhale, drop the forearms to the floor. Let's shift the body weight over those forearms. We'll make our way down to the mat and roll to our backs. All right, once we're down there, we're gonna bend up those knees, lining our heels up with our sit bones, and let's work through our pelvic clock motions, warming up that lumbar spine and pelvic area, getting our core nice and active. Make sure clock face here. We have 12 o'clock by the breastbone, 6 o'clock by that pubic bone, 3 and 9 on either side at those hip pointers. We're gonna rock that pelvis toward 12 o'clock, taking that pubic bone, shortening it up toward the breastbone, and then we're gonna reverse that. We're gonna lengthen the pubic bone back down the other direction, letting the back arch a little bit, as much as is comfortable for you. Keep that chin drawn down, and let's rock that pelvis from 12 to 6, 12 to 6. Twice more here. Lengthen that pubic bone away, shorten it toward the breastbone. We'll lengthen it back down toward the mat one last time, and then bring that body back to a neutral pelvis position where you could balance something between those two hip bones. Now we'll turn our attention to 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. That hip bone closest to our screen is gonna rock toward the floor as the other hip pistons toward the ceiling. Let's switch it up back to neutral and then shift toward 9 o'clock. Opposite hip down, hip toward the screen, pistons toward the ceiling. Let's rock that thing side to side. Let's rock the pelvis side to side for 4, 3 and 9 for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's take that pelvis back to neutral, big breath in. As we exhale again, we're gonna draw that belly down toward the spine like we're tightening a seatbelt between those two hip bones. We're gonna take our arms up to the ceiling, reaching up vertically, and let's take those shoulder blades, wrap them forward toward the ceiling, reach your fingertips up, and then with straight elbows, we'll draw those blades down to the mat. Reach them forward, drop them back to the floor. Let's alternate. Let's keep it going up and down at your own speed. Last 3. Here's my second. Here's my final one. I'm gonna reach up. I'm gonna drop those blades to the floor. And I'm thinking about keeping my collarbones and widening them away from the center of the body. They're staying nice and long, nice and wide. Hold it there. Let's take an inhale. As we exhale, again, we draw the belly down toward the spine. We're gonna bring one knee up to 90 degrees, folding at that hip. And we're gonna bring our other knee up to meet it in tabletop position. Those thighs are vertical, perpendicular to the floor, and the shins are parallel to the ceiling. If you need to take pressure off your back, those knees become a little closer to the shoulders, letting you effectively flatten the back out a little bit, which is okay. We're gonna take our hands right to the front of our thighs and drop our blades to the mat. As we do so, let's press our hands and thighs gently toward each other until we feel those muscles working between your rib cage and the pubic bone. Build that pressure, feel that belly still be able to draw down toward the spine. If you're not able to control that, if it's poking toward the ceiling, let up on your pressure through your hands a bit. From here, we nod the chin down toward the neck, and let's wiggle those knees. Let's get into the connective tissue at the back of the thighs. We're gonna bend and straighten those knees, keeping pressure through the thighs with the hands and countering that pressure by pushing your thighs back toward the hands. Let's wiggle those knees up and down just to that first barrier, first resistance to movement that we feel through the thighs. Here's 4. Straighten for 3. Straighten for 2. Straighten for 1. Let's bend those knees back to tabletop. Hold them right there. Again, pulling the knees a little closer to the shoulders if you need to take some pressure off. We're going to take our hands down close to our sides, hovering at about trunk height, a few inches up off the floor. With that chin nodded, we're going to stretch our fingertips toward the wall in front of our feet, enough that we feel those underarm muscles tighten a bit. Nod the chin again. Maybe we lift the head. Maybe we unweight it off the mat. You want to feel the front of your neck working. If you feel the back straining, please put your head down. And we're going to pat our hands up and down like we're bouncing little tiny basketballs to a count. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale. Keep that pattern going. If you do want to kickstand to take some pressure off those abdominals or those lower back muscles, we'll take one foot to the floor. If you want to challenge it further, those legs could straighten up toward the ceiling or press forward, opening up through those hips, bringing those feet toward the wall in front of you. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Let's put those palms up, press the air to the ceiling. Again, we're breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Last big breath in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Let's pause our hands. We're going to keep those hands facing the ceiling. We're going to bring those knees back to tabletop, and that upper body and head and neck are going to come down to the mat. We're going to draw that chin toward the neck. We'll leave it right there as those fingertips reach toward the wall in front of us. Let's hold them there. We're going to take our hands to the knee farthest from the screen, draw it into the chest. With the belly drawn down, let's press that opposite leg forward toward the wall. Inhale it back to the center. Switch legs, exhale and press. Inhale, center, belly stays in, trunk stays still, press. Keep that going. Inhale and press. If you want to lift your head and neck, you're welcome to. Let's switch it here for 4. Switch for 3. Switch for 2. Switch for 1. We're going to keep a hold of that bent knee. Lower that upper body down if it's been lifted. And let's take that lengthened leg, stretch it all the way down to the mat, keeping that quad nice and active. We're going to press the back of that knee into the floor. Let's hold on to our bent knee with our opposite hand. The same side hand is going to press down into the floor for a little counterbalance. We're going to draw that knee gently across the body as we press our hand into the mat. Let that pelvis come up from the floor. You're welcome to rock through that lower half of the body. Let's take it back to the middle, hold it there. Belly draws down again. We're going to hover that straight leg up off the floor. And if you'd like to lift your head and neck again, you're welcome to. Let's take our straight leg and make some circles on the wall in front of us. We're moving out of that hip joint, keeping the rest of the body as still as we can. Let's circle the other direction. Reach those toes to the wall in front of us. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take that leg side to side. Reach it out away from the body, in toward the center. Reach it away. Take it to the center. 2 more times here. Reach and center and reach. Stretch that leg out in front. Draw that leg down to the floor. We're going to bring that upper body down if it's been lifted. Reset that belly to spine, and we'll switch our grip hanging on behind that thigh as we stretch that leg up to the ceiling. You decide how straight you get that knee. If your barrier is a little bit bent, that's okay. We're going to flex and point our foot, again, getting into all that connective tissue behind our thigh, similarly to what we were doing in standing when we hinged forward. Let's point our toes, draw the belly down, and we're going to lift and lower that straight leg that's been lying on the mat. Lift and lower, getting the sense that your abdominals can control at least some of that motion. Lift and lower. We're going to press that leg into the floor and take our arms up to the ceiling. Keeping those shoulder blades anchored to the mat and the bones in the back of the pelvis anchored to the mat. Let's take that lifted leg side to side. Reach it out away from the body. Maybe we get an inner thigh stretch, and we'll take it back to the center. Lengthen it away. Bring it back to the center. Let's take it side to side, progressing if you want to by hovering that other leg up off the floor. Remember, we could have a bend in the knee if that works better for you. We can make some circles now on the ceiling, reaching those toes up away from the center of the body as we circle. Let's go the other direction. Circle and reach. Here's 4, 3, 2. Really feel that trunk working on the stable side. Let's bring those toes to the ceiling. We'll hold on behind our thigh as we roll those shoulders back and down. Let's draw the belly in, not the chin, lift the head. We're going to bring our opposite leg up, switch that grip, and we'll lengthen the other leg down to the mat while we bend our knee, pulling it into the chest. You can keep your head and neck lifted, or we can leave it on the ground. With that belly drawn in, let's take that leg side to side, that straight leg. We'll mix it up a little. We'll do our side to side twice more. And then let's move into circles with this newly straightened leg. Stretch it forward. Keep the rest of the body as still as you can. And we'll circle it the other way. Here's 4. Circle for 3, 2, and 1. Let's lower that leg down to the mat. We'll draw the body down. Switch that grip. Place that other hand on the floor, and let's rock the body to the side. Press that hand down. Use it to help propel your trunk. In the other direction. Good. Bring it back to the middle. I guess we get a little entertainment here. Let's take our hand behind that thigh. We're going to roll those shoulders back and down and straighten that leg up to the ceiling. Find that barrier again. And let's flex and point. Good. Let's point those toes to the ceiling. Maybe we do a couple of circles with that ankle. Pointing those toes, we're going to roll our shoulders back and down and draw that belly down. Using the abdominals, we can lift and lower that leg that's on the floor. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Maybe we keep it lifted. That's your decision. Bend the knee if you need to, as we'll take our arms to the ceiling and drop those blades to the floor. Let's take that lifted leg and move it side to side. Out toward your screen or away from the middle of the body. Back to the center. Let's open it up to the side. Take it back to the center. 2 more here. Lengthen away. Reach to the center. Lengthen away. Reach those toes to the ceiling and let's circle. Keep drawing that belly down. Keep that leg covered or draw it down to the mat if you need a little more support. We're going to pause that leg to the ceiling and we'll switch it up with the breath. Here's 4. Circle for 3 and 2. Last 1. Let's reach those toes up. We're going to hold on behind our thigh. Roll those shoulders back and down. Keeping the belly drawn down, we're going to take that leg that's lower all the way down to the mat, and let's kick our stretching leg into our hands enough that it allows us to unweight our heads. Hold it there. With the chin nodded, we're gazing right below our knee, and we're going to switch our legs up. We'll bring that other leg up, switch the hands, draw that leg we just stretched toward the mat. Lift it up, switch it up. Lift and switch. Here's 4. Switch it for 3. Here's 2. And here's 1. Let's bring both legs up to the ceiling. We're going to bend our knees back to 90 degrees. Tabletop position with the lower body. We're going to bring that upper body down if it's been lifted. And let's take that belly and draw it down to the spine. Pulling the knees in a little bit more if you need to challenge things a little bit differently. Let's take our arms up to the ceiling. We're going to nod the chin, drop the breastbone, drop the belly. And let's keep our shoulder blades pressed down as we gently rock our knees to one side and then to the other. Those shoulder blades are going to stay pressed into the floor. We're just getting a little slight lift of the back of one side of the pelvis as we translate that lower half of the body side to side. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take them back to the middle. We're going to keep those thighs right where they are. Straighten our legs up toward the ceiling. Again, find that barrier to knee motion. And we're going to move our legs in circles in opposite directions of each other. Circle for 4. Belly stays down, shoulder blade stays down. Here's 3. Here's 2. And here's 1. We'll pull back up to our initial position here. Inhale. Exhale. Let's circle the other way. Reach it around for 4. Circle for 3. 2. And 1. We'll bend those knees, bringing ourselves back to tabletop. And let's take one arm back overhead as we stretch our opposite leg up front. Switch them through at your own speed. Keep it moving. If you'd like to nod your chin and lift your head, we can add that upper abdominal component. You go by how that neck feels. Let's reach those diagonals. Here's 4. Switch for 3, 2, and 1. Knees and arms come back up to the ceiling. Head and neck roll down to the mat if they've been lifted. Let's flex those feet. We can wiggle them around a little bit, let those ankles release. Flex up those feet. We're going to keep our shoulders where they are. We're going to drop one heel to the mat, lift it back up. The other heel to the mat, lift it back up. Now both heels drop down. And we unweight with both heels back to tabletop. Let's repeat that sequence again. Lower one and lift. Lower the other and lift. Both heels down and up together. If you want to challenge this further for our final 3, we could take those arms back overhead, partway or down till the thumbs touch the floor. And let's alternate those legs. Here's one and lift, one and lift. Both come down, both lift up. 2 more reps, whether those hands are up or back overhead. Belly draws down as the heels come down and lift. Last set, lower one and lift. Lower the other and lift. Both come down, both lift up together. Let's take a hold of those knees. Let's draw them into the chest, letting those hips and thighs relax, and we'll rock the body side to side. Big breath in here. Big breath out. Let's come back to our center. We're going to roll our shoulders back and down. Let's take our feet down to the mat. We'll bring our hands down by our sides, and we're going to shoot for an almost vertical angle at those shins. We're going to inch our heels toward our bottoms enough that we feel like we can line them up with our sit bones. We're going to draw that belly back toward the spine, press our arms into the mat, and take a big breath in. As we exhale, drive those heels down and slightly forward toward the front of your mat as we lift up into bridge. That forward drive with the heel will help you keep from cramping in your hamstrings. So feel your thighs stretching at the top. Big breath in. Exhale, lengthen down to the mat, keeping those heels pressing down toward the floor. Big breath into the bottom. Exhale, bridge it up and hold. Keep that length through the thighs as we lower down and release those glutes. Let's lift and lower again. Here's 4. Take it down. Press and lift for 3. Press and lift for 2. Last one. Press those heels down, lift those glutes. Squeeze them, hold them there. We're going to rotate our hips. One hip comes toward the mat and comes back up. Other hip comes toward the mat and lifts back up. Let's keep rocking it side to side, alternating. Picture that 3 to 9 position on our pelvic clock as we rotate those hips. Knees are pointing directly forward as we rotate for 4. Switch for 3, 2, and 1. We're going to lift those hips symmetrically to the ceiling now. Take a big breath in. Exhaling, let's control that body back down to the mat. Releasing those glutes when your tailbone touches the floor. Big breath in here. Exhale, press those hands, drive those heels, lift up into bridge. Keeping the feet flat on the floor, we're going to take that knee closest to our screen, open it up to the side, sweep it back to the center. Opposite knee comes out and sweeps to the center. Let's alternate here, taking it side to side. Here's 4, here's 3, here's 2, and here's 1. Take those knees to the center. Now the feet stay still. We're going to keep those glutes squeezed. If you need to lower down just a little to take pressure off your back, that's okay. We're going to open both knees out to the side. Take them apart from each other, keeping the big toes down. Take those feet back, or knees back toward each other. Open the knees, close them together. Here's 4, here's 3, here's 2, here's 1. Knees come apart, knees come together. Big breath in. On that exhale, we'll control the body down to the mat, releasing those glutes as that tailbone makes contact with the floor. And let's rock our knees side to side. Give that lower half of the body a little bit of a breather. One more big breath in. On that exhale, we'll come back up to our neutral position. Breathe it in. Exhale, drive through those heels, lift up into bridge. We're going to keep those hips lifted now, and let's go up and down on our toes. Lift those heels, lower those heels. Lift them up, lower them down. Lift and lower. Here's 4. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Let's press those heels down. Keep those hips level. And we're going to march. We're going to take one knee up toward the ceiling. Maybe we extend that leg up and lower it down. Test the waters here. Try it out. If this isn't working for you, you are welcome to go back to the rotation of the pelvis, that 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock position. We're working the same muscles. This is just a little bit of a step up and challenge. Let's alternate here. Here's 4. Switch for 3, press those heels down. Last 2. Last 1. We'll take that second foot down, drive those heels through the floor, reaching those hips up just a fraction of an inch higher. Big breath in. Exhaling, let's control that pelvis down to the mat. Release those hips, release those glutes, and let's rock our knees side to side. Take a couple breaths here. Big breath in. Big breath out. Keep those knees moving. One more time. Big breath in. Big breath out. We'll take those knees right back up to the ceiling. Let's cross our ankle closest to our screen over to our opposite knee. We can press that knee out to the side, maybe even drawing it in toward the chest for a figure 4 stretch if you have a little bit more slack in your system. We'll hold here for a breath. Inhale. Exhaling, let's switch it up. Let's take the other foot down to the floor. We'll cross our far ankle to our knee closest to our screen. We can hold it there, pressing that knee out to the side. Feel those rotator muscles stopping or stretching, maybe a little bit of both. We can pull that knee again in toward the chest if you have a little more room to wiggle. And we can hold it here for a big breath in. On that exhale, let's unwind those legs, draw those knees into the chest for a big breath in. And as we exhale, we're going to take our feet to the floor, straighten one leg out, and maybe we straighten the other leg out too. Test the waters with those straight legs. If you feel like you have an arch that you cannot support, feel free to bend one or both knees. Otherwise, we're going to take the arms straight to the ceiling with straight legs. Fingertips reach through the ceiling and palms face in on each other. We're going to think about drawing the chin down toward the neck, the breastbone down toward the floor, the lowest ribs down toward the floor, and that belly down. Hold those connections. You should feel your body going a little bit heavier down toward that mat. We're going to wrap those shoulder blades forward toward the ceiling and draw the blades down toward the floor. Draw forward, reach them back down. Keep that pattern going. And as we move those shoulder blades, let's see how those shoulder blades change as we take our arms back and overhead. The blades are still going to reach up toward the ceiling. It's just a slightly different movement here. You might feel a little bit of a stretch or a lot of a stretch in those underarm muscles. We're going to pause with those hands are back as far as we can get them. Shoulder blades reach to the ceiling and draw to the floor. Last 3, reach and lower. Here's 2. Last one, reach them up, lower them down. Hold that connection. We're going to draw the chin, the breastbone, the ribs, and that belly down. And let's alternate our feet. Lift one up and down, lift the other up and down. And let's switch it up. Keep it moving. Here's 4. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Feet come down. Let's take an inhale, reaching those arms all the way back overhead. On that exhale, let's make a snow angel. Let's bring our arms down by our sides. We'll flip those palms so they face the floor. Bend up those knees, and we're going to turn ourselves over to hands and knees. Again, if you'd like a little more padding into those knees, you're welcome to double up your mat or place a small towel under them to give you a little more cushion. Once we're on hands and knees, we're going to keep that belly drawn toward the spine. And let's shift our weight away from the screen toward the screen. Press the floor away with your hands. Let's take it back to the middle. Hold it here. With the belly drawn down, we're going to take our hand closest to the screen. Bend that elbow. Tap your hand to your opposite shoulder. Take it back down. Switch it up. Tap your hand and down. Let's alternate here. Feel your core kicking in a little bit asymmetrically as we switch arm to arm. You might notice a little bit more effort on one side versus the other. Not an uncommon thing, but just something to take note of as we keep going here. Let's tap those shoulders for 4. Switch and tap for 3, 2, and 1. We'll take both hands down, hold it there, and now we're going to squeeze our shoulder blades together behind the back. Elbows stay as straight as you can keep them. We'll press them toward the floor. Squeeze them back, press them forward. Squeeze and press. 2 more here. Squeeze and press. Last time, squeeze and press. We can move on and go to single arm. One hand comes up to your thigh. We can square off those shoulders facing the floor, and let's press and squeeze through our supporting hand. Here's 4. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Let's switch it up. Let's take our other hand to the floor. We'll lift that arm we just bared the weight through on our thigh, and let's squeeze and press. squeeze, and press. Last two. Last one. Press down. We're going to come back to all fours. We're going to extend one leg back behind the body and take that opposite arm in front. Nice long diagonal from your hand to your foot. Switch it up. Try to imagine having something balanced in the small of your back. And a big goal here is to keep that pelvis nice and still. Try to control, really work on controlling that straight leg as we bend it up and bring it back to our starting position. One more time on each. Reach, take it down and switch. Reach, take them down and switch. Now we're going to shift our weight away from our screen onto the other side. And let's lift the arm and leg closest to the screen. Reach them away from the body. Switch it up. If you are not comfortable with this, again, you're welcome to stay with those diagonal reaches. We're still controlling rotation. We're still working our core and our shoulders and our hips. Let's do one more time to the other side. Reach toward that screen. Back to hands and knees. Hold it there. And now we're going to come down onto our forearms. Okay? If it doesn't feel great to have your head lower than your hips, you are always welcome to come back up to hands and knees for this next portion. Otherwise, if we're down in our forearms, you could double your fists up, rest your forehead on your hands. We're going to stretch the leg closest to the screen back behind us. We're going to lift it up and hold it there and take it side to side. Away and toward midline. Out and in. Keep that going. Good. Let's touch that leg down to the floor. Squeeze the bottom, lift. Touch it down, raise it up. Two more here, squeezing through that hip. Last one. Hold it up there, bend and straighten your knee. Heel to the bottom. Straighten it out with the goal of keeping that thigh as still as you can. We're pressing through that opposite knee. You might even feel those glutes working on the side that's farthest from your screen. Good, let's bend that knee and pulse to the ceiling. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take that knee back down. Switch it up. Opposite leg comes back. Stretch it up, and we're going to take it side to side. Out and in. Out and in. Out and in. One more time. Take it back to the center. We're going to draw that leg down and lift. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. Lower, lift, and hold. Keep that thigh still. We'll bend and straighten the knee. Keep it going. Last one. Bend and straighten. Bend and pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it here. Press through that supporting knee. Slowly lower that knee back down in. We'll place it back down on the floor. Feet come together, knees come apart. Let's bring the bottom down toward the heels. Walk those hands forward. And let's walk our hands toward our screen. Take a big breath in. Exhaling, let's walk our hands the other way. Take a big breath in. Exhaling, let's walk them right back to the center. And we're going to come up nice and tall and bring those feet in front of us. We're going to reach them toward the front of our mat. Knees can stay a little bit bent. We want to be right up on those sit bones, right in front of them, with the body vertical, as much as vertical as we can. So the crown of the head stacked up over the trunk and rib cage, which is stacked right over the pelvis. We can bring those feet apart from each other. Heels at each of the outer edges of your mat. Keeping that belly drawn in, let's take our hands up and line them up with those feet. So we're in a narrow V with those arms. We're going to hinge forward, feeling that stretch or that barrier behind those thighs, and then we'll come up nice and tall. Let's reach it forward, take it up tall. Two more here, reach, take it up. One more time, reach and hold. Let's take our hands down to our legs wherever they rest. Feet, shins, knees, hold it there. We're going to sweep our hands to the leg closest to our screen and then open up that arm. Let's take it back to the center, sweep it through to the other side. Open it up. Take it back to the middle. One more time to each side. Open the arm. Sweep it through. Last time to open it up. Let's sweep our arms back to the middle. We'll come up nice and tall. Shake those legs out a bit. And we're going to sit just behind those sit bones. Let's bring our heels in until they line up with our sit bones again. So feet, knees, and outer part of the hips are equal distance away from each other. We're going to hold on behind our thighs as if we're holding a nice round beach ball. We can roll those shoulders back and inch your feet back towards your hips, just enough that we feel the belly have to do a little bit of work to keep us upright and keep that back supported. Hold it there. We're gonna lift and straighten one knee, take that foot back down, straighten the other, take it back down. Let's alternate here. If you'd like to challenge it further, those arms can come up till they're parallel to the floor. We can point the toes. You can keep them flexed, that's up to you. We'll keep walking those feet out. Here's 4, here's 3, 2, and 1. Toes come down, arms stay where they are. Let's take our knees side to side. Bring the knees toward one arm and toward the other arm. We're kind of touching toward the inner wrist. Let's switch it side to side. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take it back to the middle. We'll hold on to our shins. Let's come upright. Maybe we do a few seated cats and cows here. Let's come up nice and tall with the belly drawn in. We're going to lean back just a bit. And let's switch our grip so our hands are pressed right into the outsides of our knees. Elbows start bent. I have really long arms. I'm going to see how straight I can get those arms, my elbows, before I start feeling like I can't control my navel back toward my spine. You're going to pause wherever you feel like the greatest challenge you can control in terms of keeping that core nice and tight is. We'll hold it there. We're going to keep everything nice and still and press our hands and thighs toward each other. We'll open up that arm closest to the screen. Feel your opposite side of your trunk working to hold you still. Sweep that arm back to the center and switch it up. Let's go ahead and move through at your own speed. Reaching and taking back to the center. Reaching and returning to the center. One more time on each side. Reach and center. Reach and center. Grab onto those shins. We'll come up nice and tall for one final set of cat and cow. Let's stay up tall. We can inch our feet forward a bit. And let's take our hands down to the mat, just to the sides and slightly behind our buttocks. Fingertips can face forward or out to the side. Our goal here is to get those elbows straight and the shoulder blades squeezed together. If you have a little more slack left in the system with that point, we could inch that bottom forward a bit. Again, we want to keep those elbows straight and keep those blades squeezed. If we send our breastbone up toward where the wall and the ceiling meet in front of us, you should get a nice opening through the front of the chest and a stretch through the biceps, through the front of that upper arm. We're going to hold here and take a few breaths. If you're not feeling much of a stretch and you'd like to challenge it further, we can lift that bottom up, moving ourselves into a reverse tabletop position. We're going to hold whether the bottom is down or up for 2 deep breaths. Big breath in, big breath out. One more time, big breath in. On that exhale, if your bottom's lifted, we're going to lower it down to the mat. Shake our wrists out, and we're going to make our way up to a tall kneeling position. Let's take our hands right to our hips. Let's take one leg out to the side. Press that foot into the floor. We're going to square our hips off until we feel a little inner thigh stretch. And from here, moving from those hips, the back stays nice and still, and we're going to take ourselves forward and up tall. Hinge it forward. Take it up. Hinge it forward and hold, and let's take our hands down to the mat. Let's open up that arm on the bent knee side, and let's draw that hand to the floor. Let's open up the other arm and draw it to the floor. One more time on each side. Open, back to the floor, open it up, take it back to the floor. Our hands come to our hips. We'll come up nice and tall, and let's bring those arms out to the side. Big breath in. Exhale, side bend toward that bent knee. Maybe we lift up that leg. We'll take it up and over toward the other side. Inhale, exhale, side bend. Inhale and exhale, side bend. Let's come up nice and tall and switch our legs. We'll move through that kneeling position. Extend that opposite leg out and square off those hips until you feel your inner thigh opening up. And let's hinge. Take the body forward. Take it up tall. Hinge it forward. Take it up tall. Hinge it forward. Let's hold it there. We'll take our hands down to the mat. Arm on the bent knee side opens and shuts. Down to the floor. Opposite arm opens up, shuts down to the floor. One more time on each. Open it up, close it down. Opposite arm opens. Let's bring it back to the floor. Hands to the hips. We'll come up nice and tall and bring those arms out to the side. Big breath in. Exhale and side bend. Inhale up. Exhale, side bend. Inhale up. One more time to each. Side bend it over and reach. And let's take it up and over. Arms come down. We'll bring ourselves back to that kneeling position, rolling the blades back for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's make our way down onto our mat. We're gonna rest that upper body down, knees forward, heels line up with the bottom. Let's tighten up our core and press that top hand into the mat. We're gonna lift our knees up and lower them down for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Knees come down, lift those feet and hold them. And that top knee raises and lowers for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Knees and feet come down, top leg lifts to hip height, and let's hinge that knee forward toward the shoulder. Keep it bent as we hinge it back toward the wall. Swing it forward, hinge it back. 2 more here, swing it forward, hinge it back. Last time, swing it forward, hinge it back. We're gonna straighten that top leg, leaving it behind the bottom leg. Now we'll straighten out our bottom leg. Let's hold it there. Let's pulse that leg to the ceiling for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it up there. We're gonna bring our bottom leg up to meet our top leg and take them down and up together. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take those knees down, bend them up, patch them out, and let's bring ourselves up and over to our other side. All right, we're gonna rest on that lower arm. Knees bent, heels lined up with the body. Top hand presses down into the floor and we lift those knees up and down for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Knees stay down, feet lift and stay there. Top knee comes up and down again for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Knees and feet come down. Let's lift that top leg up to hip height. We'll hinge it forward. Draw that bent knee back. Hinge it forward. Draw it back. Last 2. Last 1. Draw it back. Straighten out that leg. Hold it back behind the other leg. Straighten your bottom leg out. That top leg lifts and we pulse it. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bottom leg comes up to meet it. And let's take them both down and up. Last set. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take them down. Bend up those knees and patch your hip out. Nice work. And let's move on to our backs. We'll bend those knees, line up our heels with our hips. Let's cross one ankle to the opposite knee. Press that knee out to the side. And again, we can draw up into another figure 4 lift. Holding there for a big breath in. Exhaling, let's unwind. Switch those legs up. Cross the ankle to the knee. Draw that knee out to the side. We can bring those knees into our chest. Hold it there. Big breath in. Exhale. Let's take those feet down. We can turn our body toward that screen. We're going to bring ourselves to hands and knees. Let's do one final set of cat and cow. One final tail wag. And let's make our way to standing. We can come up through plank. We can take that tailbone to the ceiling, dropping our heels down. Maybe we walk our feet out a little bit, preparing for our standing work. Draw those heels down for an inhale. And as we exhale, let's bring our feet and hands toward each other. Shift our weight back so our center of gravity is over the front of our ankles so we're nice and stable before we make our way up to standing. Let's roll those shoulders back. As always with balancing, if you want to find something stable to hold onto or come near, you're welcome to. A tabletop, a countertop, a sofa edge, or a chair back might work nicely. We're going to take our feet, line them up with our hips, and again, we'll center our weight right over the front of those ankle joints. Hold it there, and let's shift to one side and bring that other foot in front, so we're standing heel to toe. Hold it there. If you want to challenge it further, you can look side to side, turn that head, take your vision a little bit out of the equation there. Let's turn it toward the center. Switch it up, opposite foot, heel to toe. And again, we could look side to side, challenge things up a little bit. Let's look forward. Step those legs apart. We'll switch our sides. Step to the other leg. We're going to find our balance point. Hold it there. We could shift forward toward the toes if you'd like to take it further. Let's go up and down. Keep that weight over the ball of the foot. It'll help your calf use whatever strength you have nice and efficiently. Let's come back to our balance point, and then we'll switch our legs. Let's shift to the other side. Lift up into that balance. Shift that weight forward if you can, and we'll take it up and down. Keeping the weight forward toward the ball of the foot, even as you come down out of that heel raise, is really key to keeping your balance. All right, let's take those feet down, shake them away from each other. Once they're a little wider than our shoulders, we'll settle in over our feet again. Soften up those knees. Let's take a big breath in. We can clasp our palms and finish class the way we started. Arms come up, shoulder blades drop down. We'll take a tall side bend to one corner and lift up and take a tall side bend to the other corner. Let's bring those arms to the ceiling. We'll take them down by our sides, drawing our feet together. Let's take one more inhale, bringing our palms together, and let's bring them in toward our center. And I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day and weekend, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. Thank you guys.